Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to a fresh episode of Tea with Tay. Today I have a veteran guest on my couch. And it's taking the grace of God for me not to jump on her because I'm really starstruck, right? I watched her growing up and I'm excited that she came on my set today. I mean, she has a new series that is so successful now, number one in Nigeria. So it's a big deal that she's on my couch today. Please put your hands together for Ini Edo,
Yay.
a
You
queen.
missed something. It's not just top 10 in Nigeria, it's top 10 in about 11 countries globally.
Ah, top 10 in
Mhm,
about 11 countries globally.
mhm,
That's a big feat. Please
mhm.
put your hands together for her again. Good to have you on my couch, sis. How are you? I want to ask you so many questions about the industry, growing up, Shanty Town, but let me just start from the earliest memory of you growing up in Akwa Ibom. What was it like?
Uh, uh.
Yes, you need some tea for that.
Yes, I
Let me
need
sip
some
too.
hot tea and that. Yes. How was it like growing up in Akwa Ibom? I grew up in one of the most peaceful places in the country. Always has been, still is.
Hmm.
Of course, Akwa Ibom State. So, um, I grew up under like really loving parents who had their values, of course, who still have their values, by
Yeah.
the way. So I was a bit heady, so of course I would always butt heads. But disciplinarians
Hmm.
at the time, when my father was still as very strong, unfortunately now he's lost 90% of his energy. Glory to God, he's aging gracefully. Yes. So it was sort of interesting because I mean, I did have a lot of friends growing up, which my mother hated, which she would always harass me for. I think she felt like that was my greatest undoing, having too many friends. And they were all literally older than me. I never used to make friends with people who were like my age grade. They would always be, and I have to upgrade my age so I could fit into,
Oh,
so I could feel like
those
I'm,
circles, yeah.
yeah, and then they don't look down on me and think I was younger than them. So you know but I've always been like this something just different.
Mm.
I've always had my mind set on what I've wanted. I've always been a go-getter. I've always been somebody who was I had a lot of aspirations. Like
Mm.
I've always had the drive to be more. I've always wanted
Yeah.
more. So yeah, and then growing up with them having that kind of attitude. Of course, I would always butt heads with my parents
Mm.
because it's like, oh, you're doing the most, so you want to be in all the drama classes, you want to be, you want to be a part of everything and everything. You want to be friends with the biggest girls in the city and stuff like. And not like I wanted to be their friends. I mean, everybody just wanted to be
Be
my
friends with
friend.
you. You're a
So
star
yeah,
already.
now follow come
I love it.
sort of thing. So yes. But however, I mean, growing up for me was like my formative years because it actually did help to mold me and
Mm.
to train me and to
Mm.
teach me the things that help me today in life.
Yeah. So, I mean, you mentioned being quite a bit stubborn. I
Hmm.
mean, you were raised by your strict parents,
Hmm.
right? So, one was a teacher, one was a pastor. That
Hmm.
dynamic is crazy because the children also have to follow suit, right? But how did you get away with acting with them? Because I imagine that they would have been like, you want to act when you could have chased a different career.
To be honest, I can't really remember my parents being so adamant and against me acting.
Okay.
For some reason, they were really really supportive. The problem my parents had was me. So the thing is, when I started acting, the first time I ran off to go act in Abia State, we were already in school. I was in UNIU then.
You ran off.
No, well, not run off per se, but I didn't tell them. They
Right.
didn't know I had gone. We were
Mm.
in school, and then we had the strike. They used to have these long,
Yes.
unnecessary strikes then. So we had this strike that was going to last, almost like we didn't know when it was going to end. And then there were these auditions going on in Abia State, and so one of my senior colleagues in school had said to me, "Oh, there was this, they were having auditions." He was already involved in filmmaking. Was behind the scenes, was
Mm-hmm.
doing makeup. Karakeme done. I mean, he was one time MVCA makeup artist.
Of the year?
Yeah,
Okay.
something like that. So he told us that about this audition in a bar in Abia State, then we were in UNIO. And then so we just, not just me, like a number of us, we just packed ourselves
Mm.
and landed in a bar. That was my first time
So,
having to leave.
but before then, you were not probably interested in act. Were you interested in acting
No, I
before
was
then?
in theater arts. Don't forget. So I was doing
Oh,
stage already in school.
right, right.
But the idea of being like a professional actor hadn't really wasn't really
Kicked
something that
in, yeah.
Jigeri had really toyed with. I mean, I was still hoping to go back and do, go back. I mean, I was waiting for my uh, jam results to go do law. I've always wanted to do. That was what my parents. That's what I wanted to do. So this was like, okay, jam isn't the first one wasn't so favorable. So let me go do diploma instead of just staying at home. So I went off to do the diploma in
In
theater
theater.
arts.
Oh.
Yes. So it was during that period that this whole bar thing came up. So we all went over 20 young people because it was, of course, it was a strike. Then
Yeah.
students came from UNIU, Unical. They had like this really big hotel where
Mm-hmm.
everybody just camped. And then for the first time, I saw like real life stars. You know what I mean? I saw
Oh.
Alex Lopez. She was in the film. The late Adame, God rest her soul. Larry Balogun,
Mm.
like you carry Anonobi.
Mm.
I met all these like big, big, big superstars. So we're all thrown into that place, to go through the audition. There were like 4 to 5 productions going on at the time. So we just went around going from one audition to the other, from one
Mm.
audition to the other. And it was interesting. First of all, having to be there with so many
Mm.
thespians, many creatives from all parts of the country. So then, the idea of actually just doing this for a living. Like when I met the stars and I'm just watching how they're filming, it was beginning to make sense.
Mm.
And luckily for me, my first audition, I got a role. It
Ooh.
wasn't a speaking role.
Okay.
I did three, the first 3 jobs I did, first 3 films I did were not speaking
So you have
roles.
your Waka Pass
Oh,
story.
that's my Genesis and Exodus
What are the
Wakapa
name of
story.
what are the names of those movies?
Okay, so the first time I ever sat in front of a camera
Mm.
to do film, the film was called Child of Destiny,
Right.
and it's a campus story with lots of female prostitutes
Mm-hmm.
and then the lead character was Adame, the late Adame and Alex Lopez.
Mm.
So they were fighting each other and stuff. So we the girls would just when this one, oh, follow the crowd, hey, so no, we'll kill you today, we not go agree. So yeah, I mean I said not like I didn't say anything, but one of the girls.
Yes.
But it was so fun.
You enjoyed it.
I did. I really did. We did it over and over again, and then we kept on, and then I had another one. That one. The second one was Cassandra.
I know Cassandra. Hey.
You cannot even remember my role. Can you remember the
I
role
don't
I
know if
played?
you did that,
You,
Cassandra. Sorry.
if I'm saying, even if you'd seen me today,
Cassandra
you'll
is
be
where
like,
Alex Lopez. What's Alex Lopez, right?
that was Eukarya
Eukarya,
Nonobi.
and I think Alex Lopez played another
I
character
think so. I
where
think so.
Eukarya was the villain in the film.
Yeah, and
Villain.
then she was in a hospital. She had like all
Yes.
bruises and scars
Yeah.
or boils on her body. Then I was a nurse, so this was my what I had to do in the scene.
Stop. Stop.
I see. No, but that's
But you were young
acting.
that time. Were you still in school at the time?
I was still in school. Are you kidding me? I was 18 or 19 or so. Yeah.
Mm.
So I just did like that, just like, hey, yeah, but without
But they
saying, hey,
see you,
yeah.
Sha.
But they see me, I was there now. By the time I came back, before the film was out, everybody was hailing me like I was a big deal already in my area.
I love
So,
it.
so yes, that was how it all started, and then I had to go back to school.
When you're already an actress in Nollywood, but you had to go back to school to continue your life, when did the change not happen for you to start getting the actual roles? That
So after those 3, I would like to say exploit that I did.
Mhm.
I was out to just test the waters. The roles I went back to school in Unical, then I'd gotten admission to do my direct to do the degree in Unical.
Were you trying to do law now, or you were just
Apparently the law didn't come through, but I got admission into studying English and literary
oh,
studies.
okay?
So that's what I went to do in Unical.
Yeah.
So at a point where I'm settling into school, so the first phone call came this really big production, Sonic, great movies. Great movies used to be like one of the biggest guys
I know
then.
them. Yeah.
That great movie calls you on the phone, and that's like a big freaking deal. So I'm in school one day, I'm coming back from lectures, and then my phone rings, and then, hello, he has a small voice. Hello, it's me, great movie, Sonny Collins. I'm like, me? They said yes, they wanted me to come and do a film.
Mm,
They said the director would call me, Tikere calls me
mm.
and says to me, Ini, there's this role. I actually don't think you can pull it because it's really, really intense. I think you're a bit immature for it. But the executive producer has insisted that we should call you for the job. I said, okay, so I sent me the script. He sent the script. As I read the script, I was just laughing at myself. I'm like, who is going to do this for me?
What was it about?
Well, that was Walter Apart.
Ha, that film. That film. Hey, hey, I can tell you every scene for that film.
that was
From your
Walter.
village role to
Yes.
no, that was iconic.
Yeah.
Was that the first major movie after all of those
Absolutely. Yeah.
Waka Pass?
Yeah. I did do one or two other ones, but still like nothing so major like that. But at least I had lines. I had like 9 scenes and I had lines and stuff. I think that's where he saw me and now called me for Walter Part.
But we can safely say that Walter Pass was a breakout role.
Absolutely.
You ate it too.
Apparently, meanwhile, I don't know anything that time.
It was a rough out.
So this guy, somebody had to even come home to speak to my parents to allow me travel because at that point now, and so it was now obvious that okay, I was sneaking around to do this thing. So it's like okay, but the problem is that you can't travel
Right.
and go to a city where you don't know anyone. We don't have
Where were they
any
shooting it?
relations. What?
Were they shooting in Lagos here?
No, Enugu. I'd never been to all none of those parts. So
Right.
so that was now the issue. Oh, we don't know anybody there. We don't have any relatives. Who are you going to stay with? And then this guy had to come to say she is such a talent. It's looking good for her. I vouch for her. I would look after her, make sure that she's okay. And that was at the point where my parents now said, okay.
So what was it like shooting Worlds Apart?
It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. So I get the scripts and there's a lot of emotions in it. I've never read anything that was that that I needed to do that much. And I was in it from beginning to the I was literally the lead character of the film. And then with then I now asked who are the co-actors. Oh my God, Liz Benson. I'm like, how? Kenneth Okonkwo. I'm like, hey, like they just dropped all these big names on me. And I was so young and no experience at all. So eventually I went to Enugu. I pulled my nails, took off my wig. The first thing the director said when he brought me the script, he said, Ini, da 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 da. I said, okay, yes, we've heard this before. I took the script. Guess what? I told God, I went on my knees, I said, if this is where you want me to be,
show me.
This no other opportunity. You don't get a bigger or a better opportunity than this. This is the opportunity.
Yeah.
So if I cannot kill this one, I'll just take it that this is not for me and I'll go back.
To do in English.
To go to do whatever it is that I'm going to be doing. So that was just the turning point for me, because I was scared, literally. I was really scared. So we started, we got on sets, first we started with the farm settlements. I just sort of left everybody, went into the bushes, just sort of just cut off from, just trying to. And even the actors on set, everybody was skeptical as well. This new girl, this little girl, because apparently it was somebody else who was supposed to play that role that eventually couldn't show up.
Yeah.
So the guy got upset and said, anybody that looks like her. It was almost like that kind of thing, like
we'll show you that you can get
yeah, I can
somebody
show you
else.
exactly that you're irreplaceable. You know what I mean? So he got somebody that looks that sort of her, according to them, and it became somebody else's turning point, apparently.
What's Apart is one of the movies that I've watched a couple of times. Like it was even my producer right now, he's tapping herself like we watched it. Like it was so huge. Like I didn't know that was the first movie that you were doing, but we know that there was a new star that came on board, like Ini Edo, who's this new girl, right? After that, what happened? What changed in the industry? Did the roles start coming as much? Or?
Everything, literally, everything just changed. At that point. It was In fact, my life literally changed from after Walls Apart. Like literally, because I suddenly became somebody that everybody could recognize.
Mm.
I was now somebody that couldn't walk the streets. And then, movies were like a really big deal. Nigerian films were like a really
Yes.
big deal.
Yeah.
People didn't play with it. Every home had seen it. Every home
True.
had seen it.
True.
So I was now like that girl that couldn't just walk the streets. Just from somebody who was just a free girl yesterday
Mm.
to somebody who now cannot step out without jigget. So it was just, and then the job started coming. It kept coming for over a decade, nonstop, nonstop, like nonstop.
One of my favorite roles that you've ever done, and I was discussing this with you, is Girls Caught.
Mhm.
Girls Caught was a cultural moment in Nollywood. Like having four of you on that set. Like I can imagine what was it like having you, Genevieve,
um,
Uche Jumbo, Rita Dominic. That
yeah.
man must have made a lot of money. The producer has made a lot of money.
He
Still
cleaned.
making a
He
lot of money.
cleaned. I think he's still making money off of that film because that was like some kind of thunder was just dropped on Nollywood.
Yeah,
It was crazy that film when it came out.
it
I
was
mean, the combination of all of us just made the fans really went wild.
crazy. Yeah.
It was so. These people are all friends. We are all friends. We are all good.
Mm.
We are girls. We are our girls. We are G's. You know what I mean? So and then we shot it in Abuja. So it was fun. Sometimes the devil will try to strike through one
Yeah, that
person or the other. Normal, those normal things.
yeah.
The person that will come, this one is somebody's best friend,
Mm.
somebody's stylist is coming from somewhere. Oh, that one is looking at you funny. Oh, that one was looking at your costume. You know, those kind of
Mm.
when
Sowing
when
seeds, yeah.
yeah,
It
just trying
happens
to
among
show,
in every
yeah,
set,
just
sha.
exactly try to sow those seeds of discord. But other than that, it was crazy because today this one brings food, tomorrow this one is bringing drinks.
Mm.
And we all had similar vices, so we're just always together, just doing our shit and
Mm.
just filming and having a good time. And then before at some point the devil struck. We were too happy for the
Please
devil
tell me,
to allow us.
tell
I
me,
can't go into
tell me what the devil
details.
did, I beg.
The
For
devil,
all time's sakes, please give
no, no,
us.
no. But the devil, he tried to bring discord amongst. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's just like a perfectly bonded friends who have been friends for a long time, and and then some external person comes and starts to feel like, okay, uh, that one is looking at you like this. Ah, do you see the way she was
Mm.
after you came out with your costume? She went and changed again. So
Ah.
no, no, no. Those things we see amongst women sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's isn't it normal?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But now you have a career that has spanned years, right? But there was a point in your career where you said that you were bored, like you just wanted to take a break and just. How, was it that you got tired of acting, or you just needed a break, or you know what? I've been doing this thing for a while. I need to look for other forms of expression. What was it?
Two things for me. Getting bored part for me was, as an artist, right? You look for the kind of stories that can inspire you to be better as an actor, to be better as a filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we run out of those stories, or people just stop creating as much. Or perhaps on the other hand, maybe I just am not getting the kind of roles that I feel like
Mm-hmm.
projects me in, shows my artistic side the way that I feel like it should be seen.
Mm-hmm.
So some roles would, instead of adding flowers to your career, they would diminish your career.
True.
So I felt like at some point I was doing more of those kind of jobs, those kind of roles,
Mm-hmm.
because that's all that was coming.
True.
And I don't like to feel like I don't have a choice in something. I always want to have a choice. So I figured, okay, I don't. The roles are no longer interesting. The stories,
Mm.
the script, the way that film is being made I mean, we've outgrown these things.
True.
We've done
Yeah.
these things forever, and most of us have had a lot of exposure as well.
Mm-hmm.
We've gone across to see how it's done. It gets really boring at sometimes because you're not growing. You can
You want
feel like you're
more,
not, yeah,
yeah.
So as opposed to just making do with what is available, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, let me go figure something else out for myself. So I sort of left, in terms of, because this also comes with finance,
True.
those films are not going to pay you well, they're not paying good, all these challenges. And I
Mhm.
wasn't ready to, there was nothing in it for me. I felt like it was a waste of my time.
Was that why you went into production? Because some people think that you probably just started producing because there've been
Mhm.
conversation. Oh, this is in his first major, but you had produced. I'll take my chances
Mhm.
a while ago. You had done Weekend Gets Away.
Mhm.
Even me, I'm just finding out that you produced them. I know that you starred in them, but like you had produced. I'll take my chances a while ago, and
Mhm.
that was one of the best films that we've had in Nigeria
Mhm.
because it was Sam Loco, it was you, it was
Mhm.
Brian's debut, like in the movie industry. Was that where you went into production?
Okay, so first of all, I co-produced with him song.
Right.
We co-owned we did the two movies together.
Hmm.
Um, that at that point in time, it wasn't about the board part. It was the angle that I wanted to be involved in the business part of entertainment.
Right.
I've never just wanted to be just an actress. I've always wanted to be able to make decisions as concerns filmmaking because I believe that I know what it takes to make a good movie. I have an eye for a good story and I understand what filmmaking really is.
Hmm.
And there's a vision I have as to how I feel like films should be made,
Hmm.
which I'm trying to relive. So at that point, it was more like, yes, getting into that business angle of filmmaking. And at that time it wasn't the board thing hadn't even come up then.
Yeah.
I think it was after that the scripts just started getting soggier and
Yeah.
you know I left for something. I didn't even leave for production. I went into the other things. I do business, I do different other things.
Right.
I went into a bit of politics. Like I'm
Mm.
just
Yeah. True.
my entrepreneurial whatever. I'm just
Kicked
living,
in.
yeah,
Hmm.
because I needed the film wasn't bringing the money,
Yeah.
you know. So yes.
So fast forward to now, you have Shanty Town.
Mhm.
Let's talk about Shanty Town. Um, First of all, did you have any influence in that story?
No, to be honest, I because the story was already created by my
Mm-hmm.
partner, Chichinwara. Then Xavier, of course, wrote it. I came in on board at the time where the story was just being fleshed out.
Right.
After the story was already created, it was just the edit, the twisting, and the tugging of things. And so my input I had on the script would basically be like after the script had been written, the little nuances that we added here and there. Like for instance, the language part. I
Yeah.
I insisted on having the two characters be Akwa Ibom. We had cast Sensei already.
Right.
So it just dawned on me that I could actually change the character from Yoruba to Akwa Ibom and then use my language instead of trying to learn Yoruba. So that was what we did. And
Mm.
then of course since it was already on the set, so it just was easy for us to just get going. We did make a few twists and turns
Mm.
on the script and whilst filming.
I really liked the language part of it, and you
Yes.
played two characters,
Hmm.
you and your sister. What was it like getting into that character? Because there were too many nuances to that character. You suffered in the hands of RMD. You guys had suffered before. Your sister had died. Like there's too many nuances. What was it like getting into that character? Because she was a lot.
Well, yeah, she was a lot. First of all, she's impersonating somebody else.
Yeah.
So she had to first of all be as convincing as possible. Second of all, the other character was ill, and they're two different. This is a detective, and this is a somebody who's like a queen of the shanty, doing all the things that gets done in the shanty. So, first of all, one of the things I did was I took time off to go, of course, take a look at those shanty places, the real shanties, to just see what life really is like out there. And to my
Oh.
greatest amazement, the script literally depicts exactly what goes on in that place.
Are you saying whatever all that happened in Shantytown is a reflection of some reality in Nigeria right now?
Absolutely. Absolutely. People somehow get lost in the message. You shouldn't get lost in the message. Absolutely. These are ills that are going on in this country. Organ harvesting is on such a rise in this country. Human part trafficking is on such a rise. Why do you think they kidnap people just up and disappear and we don't hear anything about them? These things are happening. Children thuggery.
Are you
putting guns in the hands of little boys and training them to become thugs and criminals and kidnappers and all of that. These are crime rings that exist.
are you saying there are girls now who can't leave a ring because
Absolutely.
they swore an oath? They
Oh my gosh. Yes. Prostitution is such a big ring
I know there's
all over the
prostitution, but
world.
I
It's a ring, it's an organized crime. Most not the random ones, but they
yeah.
are really organized criminal rings where all these things happen and they're highly organized.
I mean, thank you for telling such a story. One other thing that you explored was sex and sexuality in
Mhm.
in the in the series, and some people came and said, "Oh, why are they so explicit these days?" But you're telling a true story. What was it like telling those stories? I mean, because usually Nollywood try to shy away from it, go cover breasts, do like this, not do like this, but you guys went all out.
That's one of the problems where we get the issues, the fact that people want, they want a Hollywood standard film. They want,
Yeah,
a film that can stand, be able to compete internationally. We like those stories when they tell it to us, but we don't want to tell our own stories
mm,
the way they should be told. We are more interested in trying to protect what people think about us as opposed to trying to deal with our problems. Because for me, I feel like there are real life issues, and people just
true.
like to focus on the things that will distract the real issues that you're trying
Mm,
to highlight.
yeah,
Now you can't tell a Shanty story. Telling a story about prostitution, kidnapping, sex trafficking, and all those things, and not see some level of nudity.
true.
Because how do you tell this kind of stories? And people forget the message in the story. It's leave the frivolity, the things that just don't really matter.
Mm,
You understand what I'm saying? The nudity. We watch everybody, even there's hardly an American film these days that doesn't have a level of nudity
yeah.
too. But we want to hold on to our culture. Oh, it's African.
Mm.
Yes, I get it. But guess what? This same culture
Africans are having sex.
has learned this Uyibo method of treating
Yes.
our people, and they
Yeah.
are inflicting those same treatments on us.
Mm,
Do you understand? These things are happening.
they are.
Do you
They
understand?
are.
So, what is more important?
Please, that scene that you and RMD did, I was like, what's going on? How did you guys shoot that scene? That scene was what reference? Because there's a part where you fell off the bed and you were crying. I believed it. I believed every single bit of it. So how did you get into that? Like, there's some scenes in that film that I'm just like, oh, even Chidi Makame, he ate it up. Like, did you cast the people yourself? Like, how did you guys come up with all of that?
So, Shantytown is like a real teamwork, but for the casting, particularly, I like to really take this credit because it's turned out so good,
Yeah.
and so I like to see because nobody saw the vision
Now you go
initially.
bring uncle.
Now we go bring her come. It took me time to convince them to
Mm,
let them to see what I was seeing, but thankfully, we are such a good team that we are able to listen to each other and try
mm,
to see reasons. And there's a level of trust in how we work,
yeah.
that allows your opinion to matter.
Yeah.
So I we had a battle with that character. It was so hard to find. We explored every name possible. We got people to read. A lot of big actors read for the role, but I was just looking for something that I was just looking for something.
How did you know he could do it?
I just saw him, and I think it must have been the Holy Spirit or something,
Mm.
because I just saw him. He was coming out of an elevator in Abuja, and I'm like, GQ, I think I have a role for you. And I was like, what role? I said, I think I just found Scar. That's how we started the conversation.
Wow.
I went back and I shared it with my people after we had gone through the most amazing actors. And I was like, GTK. GT? How? My partner didn't even know who he was. Like, GQ? Who is GQ? I said, I don't know
Why they
GQ.
call him GQ?
Oh, no, you youngins don't know. That's how we used to call him from the old block.
He was like GQ, GQ.
GQ, G Money.
Love it.
That's his name.
I'm,
G Money.
I'm so happy that he's back in the scene, and
Yeah.
thanks to Shanty Town. I'll leave Shanty Town for now, but before I leave it, you explore a lot of women empowerment
Mm,
theme, concepts in Shanty Town.
mm.
Was that intentional?
Well, like I said, the story was already conceived before I got on board this project.
Mm-hmm.
But that was one of the major things that encouraged me to get on, to get hopping on
Yes.
the train. I'm a woman. I'm women advocate. I love to advocate for women because most times there's a strong force to try to quiet women.
Mm,
It's like almost so conscious, such a conscious force to quiet, to put women in a box and to get them to be quiet.
mm.
Sometimes we women are even also part of those problems. So for me, that was an inspiration for being a part of this project. Number one. Number two, I do stuff. So I do have an NGO where we sort of create mentorship and empowerment schemes for young women in
Mm-hmm.
small businesses, in tech, in politics, and name it. So everywhere I see an opportunity to be able to put a female child or somehow give some kind of hope or some kind of empowerment of any kind, I just something just it just comes to me naturally. That's not to say I'm feminist, although I truly don't
You're not a
understand. I
feminist.
don't see, so I don't quite get that
I am
word.
a feminist.
No, see, bruh, you be you, be you. Trust
I don't
me,
need to put you on the spot.
be
If I'm a
be,
feminist, why are you not a
be
feminist?
you. No, 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 because people tend to being a feminist means different things to different people.
Mm,
Do you understand? I love to protect women's rights, and I feel like I feel the need for the equality.
mm.
But I'm also I'm a very structured and very I'm born like I'm raised a certain way.
Yes.
Do you get? I'm raised to respect men. I'm raised to you know value men. Do you understand? So I kind of I want to be a woman, but I
Yeah.
also want to be able to be a queen. I don't want
So
to
the
be a king.
balance,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? I'm not struggling for the king position. I'm
Right.
good. My own. You see
So
what I
being a
mean?
queen does not exactly take away the fact that he's a king. That's what
Yeah,
you're
yeah, yeah,
saying.
that's what I'm saying.
Mm.
You can be a king and I'm a queen. I'm just comfortable being a queen. As long as there's nothing pressing my neck or there's nothing hovering over my crown.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I can be me.
Yeah.
You can allow me to be myself, be the best version of myself. I
Yeah.
have I'm my own person, you know what I mean? And I'm not living under your shadow. Then for me, that's the kind of feminist I'd like to call myself.
Mm. And one of the questions that I said I was going to ask you, right? And it's also like I want to hear because for me I need to hear it too as well. Is staying power
Mm,
as a talent, as an actor? Like over the years, we've watched people come and go. Um, we've watched actors who we used to love and were so popular, not necessarily leave the space, but they probably move into other things like business and all the other things. But you have managed to stay from Worlds Apart to Girl Scott, now to Shanty Town, and you've entered into production. So, what is it about? What is it that you know that we need to tell us as young people, or what is it about you that just keeps you relevant even with all that's happening, even with all the changes? There's social media now, you're still relevant. There was even before social media, you were always on the magazines and everything. What is it about you that keeps you here?
hmm. With math, fine. First of all, I like to say that there's a grace that surpasses human understanding.
Yes,
That
yes.
is not me. That's just God.
Mm,
That's one. Two, I like to think that perhaps it's the quality of work that we've done over the past years.
mm-hmm,
Because don't forget, like you said, we didn't have social media, so
mm,
in order for you to be seen, in order for you to be known or successful, you had to do a lot of work.
yeah,
So I feel like some of us had managed to do that much work that can sustain you. So even if you take a few years off, your work, so
yeah,
you had done work that had imprinted on people's minds, that are embedded in people's memories that they cannot forget.
true.
Like some people see me now and they still talk about some of my oldest films that I don't even remember.
Mm-hmm,
So it's still fresh in their memory. That means it must have been that good
yeah,
to be able to linger for that long. Um, and then again, I think I always try to also reinvent myself from time to time. I try to keep things fresh. I try to just just keep coming back with something
mm-hmm,
powerful, and I like to take things a notch higher. You understand?
right.
I believe in value. I believe in quality.
Mm-hmm.
So if I do something that has quality, even if I do two in a year, it can keep me for another 5 to 10 years, as
Mm.
opposed to just wanting to do so many and then not one is
Yeah.
memorable. You understand? Not one makes any impact.
I was gonna ask about your baby.
Hmm.
What did motherhood do to you? Because I know you recently had a baby,
Hmm.
and it was on social media. But I mean, like you didn't talk about it, but I know what motherhood can do to people. What did it do to you? What changed with being a
What
mom?
changed was that it just made me more driven. It sort of made me realize that now it's no longer just me.
Mm.
I have to create a good life for her, and I have to give her what every regular, normal child, what I couldn't get from what my parents couldn't do for me in terms
Yeah,
of the things you need to do to make a child better. So it just makes me understand that I cannot afford to fail.
that's good motivation.
Mhm.
Now that I'm in this space with you all, and I'm going to learn some things, right? At this level of all that you have achieved, right? Would you say that you feel happy and successful? And what does success mean to you?
Um, I'm grateful for everything, but I'm just I don't like to use. I don't think that this sucks. Shantytown is a success, but as a filmmaker I've spent 20 years in the industry. I don't feel like I've actually hit success yet as a filmmaker, not as an actress.
Right.
Even as an actress, there's still milestones to cross. There's still, you know, so I believe that every I believe in times and seasons, like I always say.
Hmm.
I'm waiting for that season where some certain things start happening for me.
But at least, are you happy?
Oh, I am always happy. Even when nothing is happening, I'm happy.
That's, that's a good place to
No,
be.
I'm always happy.
That's a good place
I'm
to
always
be.
happy because I know that something will happen soon. If it don't
Mm.
happen, it will happen tomorrow. As
S-
long as say we get life.
Amen. Speaking of tomorrow, what's gonna happen for? What's the tomorrow of the filmmaker gonna be like?
For me, I'm just really I mean the success of Shantytown has just given me such hype, such pump, such inspiration and
Mm-hmm.
motivation to just keep doing movies, doing good films,
Mm-hmm.
telling good stories, telling them in really exquisite ways. My vision is to drive it till the very end, like drive it beyond, break every boundary, every limit,
Mm.
go as far as I can get, you know. So the idea is, I've already apparently right after we shot Shantytown, we after a few months we went back on set to shoot my big fairy tale wedding.
Oh, nice.
That's also going to be a limited series. It's actually in post production.
And you produced.
Absolutely, my partner and I.
I think you're good to carry this filmmaker hat on your head fully.
But why not if not?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
See, it's like these days everybody just wants to scrutinize the Nollywood actresses, their successes, how they got there. Are they working as hard as the boys and whatever? You probably have faced such scrutiny as well. What do you think about this?
you see, this is such a sad conversation, a very sad conversation, considering that I hear these narratives coming from people in the same industry.
Yeah.
And I'm like, these are the issues. This is why people don't grow. This is why, as a community, we're struggling because we are our own problems. We are the ones tearing each other down. We are the ones clamoring for change, but we're the ones rejecting. Like, it's just like you're eating yourself. I've lived this story all my life.
Mm-hmm.
In 2005, between 2005 and 2007ish, so I bought my second car. My first car was a coupe, was a drop top convertible, about 2006 or thereabouts, or earlier. I'm not so sure. I'm not good with dates. Earlier, but right early before I even moved to Lekki.
Mm-hmm.
And then I bought this car, this truck, Murano. It just came out at the time. And it was like I was the only one in the industry who had it. And I remember everybody going crazy. Like,
Where did
how
she?
did she
Yeah.
afford to buy this? And they made so much fuss about it. And I checked my account. It was my elder sister and I that went to buy the guy somewhere in Ikeja. We paid, we just did the transfers. And I remember that before this time, I had worked consistently for about 6 years from when I started. Because when I talk about consistent, I'm talking about we used to do like 3 jobs in 1 week. Me and some other girl, I don't want to
Mm.
mention names. I would have two PAs. When I'm sleeping, one would be awake. When that one is sleeping, the other one would follow me to work. We did this consist, and then if you look at how much we were being paid at the time, and don't forget that this fees kept on increasing because a producer is going to come and say, "How much is that person paying you? Let me add money for you,"
Mm-hmm.
because they wanted. You get so consistently, and even when I bought that car, that truck, it didn't. I still had
Money.
quite enough. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And then perhaps my male counterpart would look at it and be like, "Okay, yeah, is that possible?" I don't know how you manage your own funds. I don't know how you work if you work as
Yeah.
hard. And I also realized that a lot of the young girls today are into so many other things.
True.
People are doing so
Influencing.
many sources, not minus even anything on the internet. Some of them are doing things really off the internet. Perhaps, just your personal hustles and here and there.
Before I let you go, there's a segment of Tea with Tay we call Spill the Tea.
Mm.
Is that sponsored by Lipton? Basically, we just ask you some personal questions, not personal, but you just spill some tea, then we reward you with a nice
Nice
goodie
Lipton tea
bag.
bag. Because I saw one Lipton tea bag at the
Now
back
you
there.
get some. Now you get some. So let me get to the questions. What's the most embarrassing or unfulfilling movie role you've ever had? You have to be honest
I
with
no go fit
us.
talk that one.
You have to spill this tea.
What can I do? Is there something to drink for not spilling the tea?
You drink 2 gallon of this thing. Oh.
Because I don't mind. Can you put straw?
You go
Let me
drink
start.
the full gallon.
Put
Oh.
straw. Let me start drinking it now. It's not me.
No, no.
Trust me. There's and I don't even
Okay,
want
no.
to.
Talk about the role, not the movie. Just talk
It,
about
it
the
was
role.
the role. Oh God,
Don't mention the movie. Don't mention the producer. Just the
the
role.
role was just. At some point when I watched it, I'm like, what the fuck? What
What was I doing?
the hell? Why? Why didn't you just cut me off the entire film? Why am I even here? And I remember, I put in energy. I said, oh God, it was just such a waste of my time.
I
Like
think every actor has that moment.
every actor has, but this
Yeah.
particular one, and then it's not something that happened like back in the day. You know, when you feel like at this my age, why would something like this happen to me? Why? Oh yes, absolutely.
Moving on. Hmm. I beg you. Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I like this one. This one is. She can answer this one with her full chest now.
Mm,
So if you weren't Ini Edo, the
mm.
Nollywood queen, what would you have been?
Baba, I would be a rich girl. I don't know how. There's no way I would have been poor, man.
I love it.
Absolutely no way. My mind, I have a brain that works like I'm very. My brain is very
Productive.
productive.
Yeah.
I'm a very driven person, and there's no shame in labor in hard work. So I love to work.
Oh, that's
So
great.
I could have been successful in anything I had
Anything.
chosen to do.
That's amazing. I like
Even
that
as a
energy.
lawyer, which I'll eventually do, maybe when I'm retiring. I don't know when I'll retire, but I'll get that law degree.
Really?
Hmm.
I tried law. It's not easy.
Don't
Oh. Are you
worry,
going to sit in class for 5 years,
I'll
Nigerian,
try.
and do law
You know, I
school?
but I had that admission that
Yeah.
the Open University thing they gave me, but I deferred it. I'm still gonna go back to it. I promise.
Really? Why do
I
all of
will.
you want to study law? I feel like if you don't taste the law, you never feel like. Because I tasted it for like a year, and I'm just like,
If it's something that you want to do out of passion, I've always loved
mm,
it. I've always wanted to do it.
to represent people.
Yeah, yes. I like the quote. I like to be able to banter words. You know what I mean? Like,
But
I mean, it's not just for the wrong reasons. I
sis,
like
let me tell you
that's the
that
fly part. But
that banter word is after years of. You see, in school,
I
you
love to
cram
read.
cases,
I love to read. I'm good
Nigerian
with
law.
reading. No, I love to read, and I'm good with cramming.
Mm,
Not just cramming, but you know what I mean by
yeah, you
reading.
can take in your
I'm
lines
not
and
more
everything.
of a yes. I
Yeah.
can do a whole 5-page scripts in my
Ah,
head. Like yeah,
then you do
yeah,
well in law
yeah,
because you have to cram all the cases,
yes,
citation.
yes. Yes.
Great. Okay.
My
So,
challenge has always been the practicals, so that's why I'm an art student.
so the next career phase is barrister in a.
I don't know. I'm thinking it.
I'm rooting for you, Sha.
Depends.
Okay, let me ask you the last one.
Depends.
What's an exciting project you're working on at the moment?
I still have. Let me answer that one.
Okay.
You can ask another one, but let me see answer that
Okay.
one. Mish. I'm working on a studio in Akwa Ibom State. Yes. I'm
Okay.
working with the state government to put up a creative studio for Akwa Ibom creatives, where we're going to have all kinds of trainings,
Mm,
you know, greenery area for filming, all kinds of
mm,
creative production equipment, fully equipped, and and then we have affiliations, of course, with like international
mm,
studios as well. So that's like my next big project. Not next because it's we're already gone far. So for me, ideally, I don't know if people. So Lagos is too congested already.
true.
So I'm
Mm.
looking for the next big space for filmmaking. The next big hub for filmmaking has to be Akwa Ibom State. So that's the dream. That's the goal. That's what we're working on.
That's good. It's gonna bring a lot of development. I mean, it's already developed, but I mean,
It
more.
has infrastructure. It just has everything. It has the ambience. So
Yeah,
for instance, you want to go film your talk show now, you don't need to carry everything is there. The manpower, the equipment, everything.
I will come to Akwa Ibom.
You
Are
would
you gonna
definitely.
invite
Oh
me?
my gosh, you would see. That's the next big thing for
Me,
entertainment
they
or
also
for
you now like they
creatives.
love you for movie role. I never tell you do sha, but okay.
You don't
Anyway,
need to lobby. I watched you in Glamour Girls. You did
thank
amazing.
you so much. Thank you.
You did
I appreciate
amazing.
you. Yeah. Okay. So speaking of roles, okay. What do you look out for when you're offered a movie role?
The challenge,
Okay.
the message, the just the entire production.
Mm,
You're looking for something to look forward to, something to excite you, the excitement, the thrill of the story. Like you pick up a story, you don't want to drop the script. Once I'm struggling reading the script, then I have a problem with the script.
that's good.
Because when you pick up a good script, you don't want to drop. You probably read. It's like a lot of people say about Shantytown. Some people said I just wanted to just take a peek, maybe watch episode one,
Mm.
and then rush.
You couldn't
And they
stop.
ended up finishing the
Yeah.
whole thing. So that's what a good story does. If you pick up a good script, if you struggle to read a script, then you shouldn't even bother.
Right. Got it. So thank you for answering the questions and thank you for not dodging anyone. Um,
Except the budget.
I have I have a special goodie bag courtesy Lipton to you, my veteran actress, my queen. You deserve this
Okay,
special bag.
Lipton tea. I've been drinking
Please.
Lipton tea forever now.
Yeah, but I
This
can
is the
say
first gift people have given me. Please do better.
I will send you more gifts. I'll send you cartons of Lipton.
I don't want cartons of Lipton.
Wait, see what we get everything. We get
This one I can drink it for 3 months.
no, you have to drink it every day.
Ah,
One Lipton
let
tea
me show
bag.
people what you have given me so
Please,
that
please, it's
not
for
see
you
that
now. Yeah, show them now. We're proud of our gifts here.
there's honey here.
Yes, so sweeten your life. Sweetness. Guys, it's been an amazing episode. I've been humbled to have Ini Edo in my presence. Please, guys, watch Shantytown, stream it, tell your friends about it. It's currently number one across 11 countries. So yes,
Top 10.
top 10. Yeah. Thank you for watching Tea With Tay Pod. Please sign up for me, my queen.
Okay, guys, I hope you had a good time because I have had such an amazing time with Tea With Tay.